Hello and welcome to Hey, did you see this one? I have decided to call this the Mega Movie Summer Series. It's not the Summer of Summer Movie Series like we did last year.
Mega Summer?
Yeah, it's kind of a mega because like all of the movies we're doing kind of just like took over in their respective years.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
these are three movies that had like restaurant tie-ins, commercials constantly. You couldn't throw a rock without.
Whoa!
See what I did there?
Sharon Stone over here.
Hey, I marked
Are we
out.
allowed to talk now?
Actually, Kaylin, can you just say a couple of words? Yeah. Okay, you're good. You're good. I just want to make sure everybody can hear all of us. What I'm saying though is it's movies that were like so huge that you couldn't get away from it. The Flintstones, I recall being like that. So we're gonna do the Flintstones tonight first. If you can't tell by my lovely co-hosts' backgrounds, I still have all the social media because I'm a whore. But thanks for everyone for coming into the chat tonight. We have a couple of sick boys on the chat, but we're gonna try to make it through. Maybe it's not gonna be our longest episode, but I thought since we took a week off. Since we took a week off last week, and we basically went radio silent on the channel last week, that we should definitely do an episode. And then last night, everybody felt like shit. So then Thursday night show. But none of us are drinking. I'm having a nice, delicious Gatorade.
I'm drinking right now.
You're drinking.
Yeah.
I got
Okay.
ginger ale.
What's Clindrial?
Clinger ale. What's
Oh,
Clinger ale?
Clinder ale. Okay. Is that Clamato mixed with ginger ale? Gross. Ick. Yucky. So anyway, we watched The Flintstones this week, the lovely film starring John Goodman. I believe it was Rick Moranis' final film before he went on hiatus. If this wasn't, it was right. It was Honey, I Blew Up. No, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids is like 92.
He made the Honey We Shrunk Ourselves like fucking years later.
Okay, right. That was like 96 or 97. Okay, but anyway, this is the
I
height.
like that one.
This is the height of Rick Moranis. Yeah, those movies are all fine.
You like that one?
I wouldn't say I like it personally.
Yeah, it had that shark dinky or whatever.
It had that shark dinky. You know how we love shark dinkies. No, it's a bad movie, Galen. Don't ever
It's not
talk
a
about
bad
it like
movie.
it's good.
I mean, it's a bad movie. It's probably not as bad as the sequel to this, the Viva Rock Vegas, which
Oh yeah, no, let's never talk about that.
I don't think
this
I saw.
movie's actually kind of good.
This movie is kind of good.
Kind of good.
And we'll get into that. But before we'll do what we always open the show with, and we'll do a round table of our first experiences with this movie. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll start with Kalen because he looks like he wants to be here the least.
It's just everything's really warm, but I can't be naked on whatever we're on.
We're on television. We're on TV
Yeah,
now.
you can't be naked on television. Also, like your nipples would not even be showing if you were not wearing shorts.
It's implied nudity, though. It might be too spicy for some viewers.
Also, is Kaylin like super
Nice.
jacked? I feel like you are.
Kaylin has a swimmer's body, I would say.
A swimmer's body.
Don't get too horny, Steve.
I'm blushing.
I'm
I'm blushing.
already too horny. I can't get any hornier than I already
We have
always
achieved
am.
maximum horniness
Yeah.
here on Hey.
Maybe if you had
Did you see
a
this one?
rose with a horny stem.
Oh, Kaylin, you have a gross, sick voice. You're losing my boner. Let's go.
So, Kaylin, tell us about your history with this fine Criterion film.
I saw it. I owned it on VHS. If I'm not
Wow.
mistaken. Yeah.
I don't think anyone else here owned it on VHS. Jason?
No, I didn't. But I have.
Definitely didn't.
I have. There's more to it than that.
I meant to find it, but I just didn't really have the energy for the last few days. But yeah, no, I remember, I'm pretty sure I had like all, if not most of the McDonald's little cars or whatever that they made for it, like the little tie-in or whatever.
Yeah. I remember those. That was the whole point of this movie, right?
That's the theme of this month. And then even McDonald's has a little cameo or whatever in the movie.
It
Rock
does,
Donald's.
Or Rock Donald's, I think they call it.
I like Toys-osaurus. That's my favorite one.
The one thing I remember rewatching it now, back in the day, one thing I used to say a lot from this movie was that short for something? Bam, bam, bam. Not in any context with anything. Like I would just randomly say it because it was funny to me.
Okay.
And back to you. Okay. All right, Steve, why don't you?
Well, I do remember this movie coming out when I was a kid, and it was like the biggest thing in all of movie history as a child. I was like, they're doing it! They're finally doing it! They're making a Flintstones movie!
Live action!
Yeah, and I was so fucking hyped for this movie. I remember being a kid and being like, this is going to be the best movie that has ever been made. Ever. And, like, they kind of kept doing it afterwards. Like, they made the Scooby-Doo movie. They made the Did they make a Jetsons movie?
There's no live-action Jetsons, but there are many Hanna-Barbera wrestling crossovers.
Oh, wow.
Many. Like, there's 5 or 6 of them where it's like, there's a Jetsons one where they go back in time, and then there's a Flintstones one where they go to the future, I think. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And no, I didn't get those mixed up.
Those are all the cartoons. I remember those, though. Yeah, no, you're right. I remember being extremely excited for this movie, and I remember watching this movie in theaters as a very tiny little boy, and thinking it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, wow. They did it. They did it. Cinema can close down. We can shut down movie theaters.
That's it.
It's over.
That's it. We made the best
They
movie.
made it. They made Flintstones into a live action movie.
Until The Mask came out.
John Goodman. And it was, you know what though? Like as a kid, I loved it. I kind of remember as a teenager being like, ugh, this movie sucks. And then watching it the other day, I was like, you know, this movie does not suck. This movie kind of fucking rules. Like, I kind of like this movie a lot. It's not trying to be a big blockbuster Flintstones movie. It's just trying to be a regular movie that is taking place in the Flintstones world. Like, and I kind of like that.
Got some kid humor, some adult humor.
Yeah, it gets a little bit Hollywoody at the end, but like, who fucking cares? Like, the rest of the movie is like, they're just friends, and like, you know, like, it's kind of good. It's kind of good. Anyway, that's, yeah. When I saw it when I was a kid, and I like crazy. And I like it now.
It's funny you should mention big budget, because this movie, I just looked it up because I was curious, because I thought so. It looks like I remember it being a Hollywood marvel when it came out. I remember watching like mini documentaries on like Entertainment Tonight about it and how everything was like handmade and there's so much detail. They made this movie.
It is good though. There's a lot of it though. Yeah. This is also weirdly kind of contemplatively coming over from our last months.
I know. I was thinking that while I was watching it, but there's like some weird CGI melding. But anyway, the movie only cost $46 million to make, which was a lot for 1994, but, you know, really not. And it brought in $341.6 million.
Yeah, I think that has to do with worldwide budget, because, like, it's, you know, the Flintstones worldwide are beloved. Like, you can ask somebody in Germany or France, who's this? And they'll be like, Fred Flintstone.
It was, yeah, exactly.
Fred the Flintstone.
Until The Simpsons recently, a few years ago, beat the record. It was the longest running like primetime sitcom, and it was it was basically The Simpsons before The Simpsons. I would actually be curious to go back and watch the main line. Like, there were shit tons of spin-offs of the Flintstones and like reboots
boring.
And stuff.
Like, the Flintstones is like a boring.
I know, but I'm wondering if The Simpsons jacked anything. You know how the South Park meme was like, Simpsons 100%. Did it. I wonder if.
Well, I mean, Family Guy literally like.
Yeah, is Fred Flintstone.
Kind of like a Fred Flintstone, right?
Exactly. So my experience with this movie was that I remember that summer vividly, being like the summer.
Vividly? You remember it vividly?
Yeah, man. I was like 9
Holy
when this
shit.
came out.
You didn't get drunk
I
or high
was
at that
4.
No, but I remember seeing it in theaters a couple times. I didn't own it on VHS, I don't think, but what my dad used to do is because VHSs cost like $60 back then, he would buy me the soundtrack. And I had the soundtrack for this. Well, no, it's funny because the soundtrack.
It's the Flintstones.
Exactly. It had the B-52s all over it. It had I don't know how far into the credits you guys watched, but there's an Anarchy in the UK parody called Anarchy in Bedrock, which I loved, and my uncle loved punk rock, and we were going on a trip, and it came on, and he was like, "What the fuck is this blasphemy? Why are they parodying?" And I was like, "I don't know, the song rocks." And also, I don't know which movie came out first, but Get on the Floor and Rock the Dinosaur song. Do the Dinosaur, whatever the fuck. Dance the Dinosaur, whatever. That was in this.
The Twitch?
Down to the dino rock.
No, not that one. Not that one.
What?
Open
That's
the door.
not the one you're talking about?
Open the door. Get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. That's in this, and it's in the Mario Brothers movie from right around the same time. I think the same year, in fact. It's a big song.
Well, that's gross that you would bring that up.
Why? That song still is
Mario
great.
Brothers?
No,
Mario Brothers movie or that song? Anyway,
both.
I had the toys. I had the toys and the soundtrack mainly. That's it. But I remember vividly having the McDonald's toys because they were like the buildings from that like city set, and I had the Tyrannosaurus or whatever.
It's pronounced Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Right. The Toys R Us parody, and what they were is they were little buildings, and they opened up, and little like dinkies came out, like little cars.
I remember that too. Yeah, I do remember that.
And also, remember how they
those
show
Polly Pockets?
kind
It
of.
was like a Polly Pocket. Yeah, you're right.
Remember how they had at McDonald's it says like 33 billion sold, and in this it's like 16,000 sold or whatever. That was the first time I realized what that meant on the McDonald's sign. I was 9 years old. I didn't fucking know what that meant. And ever since then, it's like been ingrained in my head that McDonald's is that big.
You know what? That's fair. Because like I also, because of this movie, the 4 billion, 6 billion sold like that. Because of this movie, I understand that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that sucks that's true. And
well,
I don't like it.
That's the thing we're probably going to learn about these couple of movies that we're doing for this month is that I didn't see Reign of Fire, which is one we're doing, I think, next week.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the third movie is, but what was your movie? Hercules? Yeah. Oh, I do remember Hercules being another McDonald's like
the plates. I had all the plates.
But the thing is,
Kaylin, I was hoping you'd pick something like really random, but you picked something very safe.
I couldn't. I still kind of want to change my pick, to be honest.
Yeah, all right, we'll come back to that. We're definitely going to do Reign of Fire because I've never seen it. But anyway, my point here is that like McDonald's, like every summer these bangers would come out, and then McDonald's would have the Happy Meal with the fucking toy that you had to have, and one of the toys you could never get. It was always 3 of them you'd get all the time. One of them you were like looking for. My parents took me to McDonald's a lot.
Yeah, Jason, you seem like a McDonald's kid.
I was a McDonald's kid for sure.
I was not a McDonald's kid.
But anyway, that brings us through to a little bit of the synopsis. And the synopsis of this movie is basically a series of like Flintstones bits with a loose story that's pretty basic. And the story basically is just that Fred... There's a big promotion at the quarry. They have to write an aptitude test, everybody at the quarry. Fred and Barney write the test.
You missed the part where he gives money to Barney.
Yeah, I mean that's
to adopt his child. Like he has
that seemed like a little bit.
That's a big part of the story. He gives
Was that in
a bunch of money to Barney.
No, it's like a B plot.
Barney can adopt a child.
Okay, that's Bam Bam's origin story.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, that happens. They have a great.
But it's so nice. Like it makes me want to like weep. I'm like, oh my god, they're such good friends.
We can. I'm just doing a quick
Right,
plot synopsis, and then we can talk about the movie.
I won't interrupt again.
Yes, you will. The main plot of the movie is essentially that there's this big promotion, and Barney sees Fred like struggling during test day, so he switches their tests. And then Barney got like a perfect score because he's a genius. In the comic, in the cartoons, they kind of made him out to be a bit of an inventor, as I recall. He was always inventing shit and like super smart, and Fred was a big dummy. And what happens next is very cool and very simple, and I definitely have it ready in my brain to say it. And what happens is Fred gets the big promotion, starts buying shit with all of his new riches, and Barney has to work a bunch of hilarious, bad, shitty jobs.
Are you gonna believe me or some busboy?
So during that time, also the bad guy, played by Kyle MacLachlan, it essentially is like, you're helping me embezzle. You're gonna make money hand over fist, and then also there's Halle Berry, who looks like Halle Berry in 1994, if you know what I mean.
She looks like Sharon Stone.
Her name is Sharon Stone, and it's actually kind of a funny little joke. I chuckled.
They tried to get Sharon Stone.
There's lots of very funny little jokes in this movie, though.
They did try to give Sharon Stone the part.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I mean, obviously they did.
She looked great in 94,
they're
too.
like, you know what, we want Sharon Stone to be Sharon Stone, but she doesn't want to do it. Okay, we'll make Halle Berry the performer, but let's just still call her Sharon Stone
because everything
it'll be funny. Yeah,
everything is Stone related.
Funny. It is funny that her name is Sharon Stone, played by Halle Berry.
So anyway, essentially all that happens after that is Fred takes the fall for it, gets fired, and then the town like comes for him to lynch him, and they escape, and then it's just kind of like a schmoz to the end of the movie to beat the bad guy. And then they beat the bad guy in a big
that's true.
quarry.
It's kind of like whatever.
The reason why I just wanted to kind of gloss over the plot this week instead of try to read a giant Wikipedia thing is because the plot in this movie is so basic because there's so much shit jammed into every scene.
Yeah, every scene is like a little joke. Like everything is a little joke.
And it feels like
I like it though.
Me too.
It's so good.
And it feels like that's necessary for something like this. Because if they made it way too plot heavy, then it would be like a slog. But if it had less plot and was more like a series of interstitials, it would be too lame. And I'm worried that that's what Viva Rock Vegas literally is. It's too much substance.
That movie sucks.
I know, but it's probably too much story substance, trying to be like, here's the origin for all these things that you've seen.
It's not even origin. It's just terrible. Like this movie at least has a little bit of heart, you know? Like Rick Moranis and John Goodman have like a
great
true friendship, and you can tell within the movie they are good friends, and like that's why it's so heartbreaking when they are, you know,
when they break up, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that Fred Flintstone's casting in this, and even Barney to a slightly lesser degree, I don't know at the time.
Don't talk about the casting. What are you gonna say, like, Rosie O'Donnell shouldn't have been Betty?
Well, why don't you let me talk, and then you can find out what I'm going to say.
All right.
Fred Flintstone is much like casting Patrick Stewart as Professor X. It's almost so perfect that I couldn't imagine anybody else doing it. Barney Rubble, Rick Moranis was a great choice, I don't know. It looked like Rick Moranis had to like put on weight for it or something. He had like weird bleach blonde hair. It was great casting in that Rick Moranis is a great actor, but Rosie O'Donnell was fine for Betty, and the woman who played Wilma, I remember her in this movie vaguely, and then I don't really know what else she's been in, but I know that she's got like a name. I know everybody has it. I don't.
Elizabeth Perkins.
Yeah, so Elizabeth Perkins. I am actually curious about what she would go on to do.
Or has done before.
Elizabeth Perkins is hot.
Oh.
She is a good Wilma. Also, you know what? Rosie O'Donnell, she's hot too. She can be hot sometimes. And she's hot in this movie, and she does a good Betty. And I don't care. I don't care for people who say they only cast her for her laugh. I'm like, you know what? She fucking did a good job as Betty.
Yeah, but also she was a mega star at the time. She was just about to.
Who cares? Who cares if she was a mega star?
Well, that's why they cast.
She was a mega star, and she did a good job in this movie. She's a good movie star.
She's a good movie star. So I'm just looking at Elizabeth Perkins here, and she's been in a bunch of stuff. She was recently on Glow. She's actually in. She was on Weeds. I think she was the mom on Weeds. I don't know if you guys watched Weeds. It was a great show.
Weed mom.
Weed mom. And now she's on Barry.
Is that like Breaking Bad, but with weed?
Kind of.
Yeah, instead of meth, it's weed.
But instead of like becoming a drug kingpin, she does become a drug kingpin. But she just wants to like sow her wild oats. She sort of has a midlife crisis kind of thing, and then also the family are all a bunch of lunatics. It's a great series. I don't know if you've never watched Weeds. I don't know if it holds up, but I enjoyed it when it was on. And also the person who created Weeds would go on to make Orange is the New Black, which was also great. So,
what's your favorite part of this movie? The Flintstones movie.
My favorite part of the Flintstones movie is probably when Fred starts acting like a dickhole after he gets like a little tiny bit of money. Because
what? Really?
It's like they definitely jacked that exact storyline for Family Guy when
bowling scene where Barney he actually gives like a weird heartfelt sort of speech, and he has like a weird he's like it's like it's like flip cards, but they're like made of stone. Like, it's funny. And
I think another favorite part of the movie that I have is more of like overall just the amount of hilarious detail and like cavemen jokes. Like, everything is novelty and oversized.
I was gonna say my other favorite part is when they're doing they're about to do the test and everyone's eating lunch, and like if you just look around at what people are eating, it's like all weird jokes. Like, every single thing is a joke in the background. Or
the party after where there's like deviled eggs,
lizard and onions. You want half? And then, like, someone's eating, like, a fish taco, literally, like a taco with a huge fish inside of it.
The deviled eggs that are, like, this big at the party after, because everything is just hilariously novelty. Also, the jokes about how, like, there are 4,000 people on this earth. There's got to be somebody out there. It's, I love that element. They really went all in. And
Caleb,
it didn't...
What about you? What is your favorite?
Well, things that are going through my mind right now, it's a movie within a movie, because it starts with them going to the drive-in.
Oh,
and shout out to you,
about Star Wars over here.
Star Wars. I knew you liked that one. And then also Pangea. I thought that was kind of cool that they showed when they did the Universal thing, but it was Pangea.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket-versal or whatever. Shell-versal.
Universal.
Universal,
yeah.
And that when that movie starts and they're at the quarry, like they're kind of panning the quarry, like establishing shot or whatever. Did you guys hear? It's kind of faint, but there's some guys in the background, and they're like, "You crazy Cro-Magnon" or whatever.
Oh, I didn't hear that. No.
It gave me a little chuckle. I
do like that this is before the Homo erectus defeats all of the Cro-Magnon man, so there's still Cro-Mags around, but they treat them kind of shitty. Like, what do I look like, a Cro-Mag? And they look over to the other bowling team, and they're like offended.
No offense.
Yeah.
No offense. Monkeys. Oh yeah, also actual monkeys are in this movie.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what we were up against back then.
Yeah, because humans and dinosaurs existed at the same time, right?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe.
Or if you're Kayla, the Earth is only 2,000 years old, so this movie is pure fiction.
I never said such a thing.
That's a joke. That's a joke because you love conspiracies.
I got a good tidbit for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Go for it.
Glass was banned from set.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because they were barefoot.
And everything is made of styrofoam.
In this movie?
Yeah, I meant like yeah, exactly. Like because the performers were pretty much barefoot.
Makes sense. Yeah, like I wouldn't want to be walking around in barefoot if anybody could break glass around me.
I think another favorite thing of mine for this film, this movie, film, whatever, is there an explosion in a car chase? I don't know.
I think there's a car chase. Yeah.
Yeah, the car, and
there's an explosion. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess at the quarry.
They
invent
also,
concrete.
Like the TV explodes.
Yeah.
When she throws the TV over and it blows up.
Oh, I have a thing to say about that, but I just wanted to say that like, I fucking lost my train of thought, and I'm not even drinking. What the fuck?
All right, let's just walk through the movie.
Hey, hold on. The scene that you're talking about, where Wilma's like, "I don't need this," and she's smashing stuff, is I think a direct reference to the movie The Jerk. You guys remember The Jerk with Steve Martin?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, there's a scene where his wife is.
That's the one where he hates these cans.
What? The Jerk is the movie where a dummy invents a thing that goes on the end of your glasses, and it makes him super rich. And the thing that it's so you don't have to push your glasses up, but everybody like stares at them and becomes cross-eyed, so he loses his fortune. And as he's leaving his mansion, he's just walking around going, "I don't need anything. All I need is this lamp. Okay, I don't need anything. All I need is these plates." And lamp was definitely one of them. And the plates I paraphrased because I can't remember what the rest of them are. But I think that was a reference to the Jerk.
The lamp is a clear reference to A Christmas Story because
it's the leg
lamp. Yeah.
If it's two references at the same time, that's crazy.
Whoa,
Meta.
What a crazy movie we watched. So, Kaylin, what were you saying?
The evil boss looks at the audience after he closes Fred's office door when he leaves him with Sharon Stone.
Yeah. Oh, he looks into the camera?
Yeah.
Like like meta on purpose, or because there's a.
Well, he does look into the
There's a term for that, like looking down the barrel or something like that, when people accidentally look right at the camera. No.
Yeah, but he's doing it on purpose.
Okay.
It's it's one of those like, and he's looking at the frame and
the audience.
Like,
there's a lot of stuff in this movie too that's like for kids, and if I remember watching movies, and it's like Splinter saying I made another funny. It's like I remember that when they look at you right in the audience as a kid, you're like, oh. I can only imagine watching like a PG cut of like, Deadpool and all of the meta shit blowing your mind.
Like Elizabeth Taylor, for example, is that's like looking at the audience. Like she is in this movie for what reason? Why is Elizabeth Taylor in this movie?
Because in old sitcoms, you gotta hate your mother-in-law.
Yeah, and who do we pick? Elizabeth Taylor. She's like the ultimate mother-in-law. And she is kind of the ultimate mother-in-law, like super rich, hates Fred, looks at you as the audience, and you're like, you, Elizabeth Taylor, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, she's Fred's first foil in the movie.
Yeah.
I really liked her casting too. It was good. I can't remember what the mom looks like on the Flintstone, or the mother-in-law looks like on the original Flintstones, but I assume she looks like that. I remember the joke.
I assume that she didn't exist.
I think that she did, though.
That was a character made up for this movie.
Dude, there are 30 seasons of the Flintstones. There's definitely
30. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Actually, it might only be like 25, but
25 is still a lot.
It was the longest-running primetime sitcom up until the Flintstones.
Well, Barn, you want to smoke some cigarettes? Okay, Fred.
It's good for you. It'll make you feel real good. Buy Flint Rock cigarettes.
Buy Foot Rock cigarettes.
When the show started, there's only 6 seasons, but there's 166 episodes.
It was like, that doesn't sound right. 30.
Okay, so okay. I thought there were like 30. There's like a shit
Was
ton
one
of
season
spin-offs.
more than a year?
Probably, man. There's 166 episodes, so there's a lot of episodes.
There's a lot of them. There's like way less than if there were 30 seasons, but there are 6.
Okay. If there were 10 episodes a season, there'd be like nowadays there'd be 16 seasons. So. Okay, Steve, you're off your rocker.
No, I'm not.
They made a shot for shot remake of the opening to the Flintstones that they played at the beginning of the movie, and I just was like, yeah, that's perfect. Also, I remember my train of thought that I lost was that this movie just uses the sound effects and the background music right from the show. Like, what more could you want?
No, yeah, I agree. I love this movie. This movie is great. This movie is a great movie. Like, it's a living. Like, I love all of those moments.
Dictabird was like my favorite character. Hello, it's me, Dictabird. Hey, check this out, Wilma. Say, I love my beautiful wife. I love my beautiful wife. I thought that Dictabird was amazing when I was a kid. I wanted a bird that would just say everything I would say, and then they put out those yak backs. Remember yak back?
I remember yak.
Say a thing, and then you play it for your mom. You say a swear word, and then you play it for your mom. No, that was Talk Boy. That was a Talk Boy. Yak back was just, it could take like 10-second little audios. You'd be like, fuck, and then you'd play it to your mom, and your mom would be like, I guess you didn't say it. And then you'd be like, hey, I said the F word to my mom.
Why would you say that to your mom?
It makes me sound like a real asshole. Wow.
Yeah.
When the evil boss says "kiss your bird goodbye," and then the camera pans down to Fred's crotch, and then over to the bird.
What? Say that again.
And come in with what's it called when you kill the moment?
Awkward silence. Okay. You're coughing directly into the podcast.
No, I'm coughing this way.
I can hear it perfectly.
I'm sorry.
It's not good TV.
So, I know, but I have COVID still. So, the movie we watched, Flintstones, the Flintstones. Let's walk through it.
Everyone had matching Flintstones. I love the B-52s. So the B-52s...
BC-52.
The BC-52s cameo. I remember the soundtrack actually had them listed as the BC-52s as well, which is a nice little touch. I really enjoy the scene where they play basically Love Shack, but
they're in it the whole time. Like the beginning was like, everybody going down, rock down, then twist. Remember, like at the beginning, like the twist, like that's like they're on the radio at the beginning of the movie, and they're like part of the movie from the beginning of the movie, which is pretty great.
Do boars fart a lot?
Do boars fart a lot? Well, I think that any mammal that lives in the forest probably does fart a lot, Caitlin. Why would you ask such a question?
Well, this is the second time I've watched a movie with a joke about boars farting. I'm not sure if the first one was... I'm not sure the order of which one came out first, but Lion King has that, Pumbaa farting joke.
I think it's that boars are rotund and... It's a meme.
They look like they would fart.
It's a meme when rotund animals
you gotta make that thing fart, man.
Are rotund, so they have to make them fart because farting is funny. And both of the movies you just said are kids' movies.
Yes.
Let's not forget.
Farting is pretty funny.
I remember though that my parents liked this movie. It was one of those. It had enough.
Parents liked it.
It had enough stuff for adults.
The whole family could enjoy it.
Jeez, idiot parents.
When I was when I was 9 years old, my parents were like younger than I am now too, right? So,
damn. Yeah, so they were dumber then, because they were younger.
Yeah, people younger than me are dumber, and people older than me are smarter. It's like how all cats are girls and all dogs are boys.
Yes.
And they do it with each other, and then depending on how it comes out.
What?
You know what though? Like, this movie's not a bad movie though. Like, I keep saying it. It's not a bad movie. This movie's kind of good.
Say it again.
Let's talk.
It's kind of good, Caleb. This movie's kind of good.
To lead out of our June Henson and into July Mega Movie Month. These puppets in this movie, that when they're actual practical puppets, they look great.
When they do the opening of they recreate the Flintstones introduction, the cartoon. That puppet that pops out, the fucking Dino puppet that pops out at the end. Beautiful puppet.
It's a great puppet.
Beautiful puppet, man. That's a great puppet. That
and
puppet looks sick.
All of the shots with Dino as a puppet are great. They almost look. He almost looks like a Jurassic Park textured puppet, like it. You know what I mean? Like that's it's Amblin and
cartoony eyes, which makes people think it looks dumb, but it looks fucking good.
They also refer to him as literally a dog, which is great. But but this is Amblin Entertainment that worked on this, so that's why it looks so good. But the thing is there's some CGI stuff in this movie, and it's not even that bad. When Dino attacks Fred, because that's a thing from the Flintstones, he always attacks Fred to lick him. It was definitely like a weird CGI, but it like looked fine. It didn't look. They use it very sparingly too. I think that's part of it. They just show it for like a second instead of like holding on it.
They knew when they should and shouldn't use CG in this movie. Like,
yeah,
like you can see when it's being overused and underused, and it's always fine. Like it's like they're like, no, we'll do puppets here, and then we'll do CG here, and like it works. It works.
1994 was like that weird. 94, 95, 96, where those it was like the kind of changeover years where there was a lot of practical still going on as the main like special effect.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of fucking bad CGI, man. Especially towards the late 90s where they stopped relying on practical effects. They were like, fuck it, we'll do it with computers. It's way more expensive. It's way more expensive, but the kids and the people, they like it.
A glove. We don't need a person with a glove up its ass. We could use
a glove.
Make it flap with the CGI.
And then I remember people, we've talked about this before, but I remember people being like actually afraid that CGI was going to take over actual actors. And it's the year of our Lord 2022, and they can barely, do the hologram stuff.
Eyes, like...
Yeah, it's the uncanny valley shit. But they do. Disney has nailed aging down people.
They haven't nailed it. It exists. It's not nailed.
I don't know, that Robert Downey Jr. bit in I think it's Age of Ultron.
Yeah, he looks like somebody barfed youth on his face. You're right.
Yeah, so my next note that I have is crab for the lawnmower. Notice how the crab lawnmower is not cutting anything? It's just here's the grass.
Come on, Jason, you're gonna go on. You're gonna go in that crab lawnmower.
Welcome to Jason's Theory Corner. The crab wasn't cutting any grass. Is that too much?
Bad.
I love when he gets rid of the old garbage disposal and puts like a new one, like a little youthful pig in. Like I love when he puts the youthful pig in.
And he opens the box and it's literally filled with peanuts.
And he's like, like the pig is like, I'm excited to eat your trash. Like he's so.
I thought he was gonna put them together.
Oh, youthful.
Make them like a little couple.
Yeah. What happens to the old pig? Do they just throw it outside and be like, go?
I think he got thrown out.
It gets run.
Because he was with the other, with the fired employees.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, man. Stop. I don't want to think about what happens to the old pig. The old pig is now like a homeless pig. Like, he's eating garbage, but he has to find his own garbage.
We'll suck dick for trash. Sorry. That was too much.
I was going to say that, Judah.
That was a little bit too much I'm working blue tonight, buddy. I'm working blue on the old Flintstones podcast.
Check out that blue collar. Very nice.
So
What'd you do? Wash your neck?
I like that Bam Bam was raised by mastodons.
Yeah, I feel like Kaylin was raised by mastodons.
Kaylin, were you raised by mastodons?
I was raised by television and movies, so
Mastodons.
yes.
Alright, same thing. Almost.
I've listened to a lot of the band Mastodon. Does that count?
What's a band?
Yeah, it's good band.
Can you hum a ditty for us? Sounds like a TV show.
Why buy a mattress anywhere?
Look, Steve, I literally wrote in my notes, Rosie O'Donnell is also perfect casting, so you can't even.
She is. She sounds great.
She just, I kind of like didn't like Rosie O'Donnell growing up. I found her to be annoying, but I don't think that she's inherently bad, except for that one movie where she plays a mentally challenged person that is almost offensively bad.
Did that too?
I have a very distinct memory of one of my dad's friends when I was a kid. While, like, after leaving the Flintstones movie, we all went to go see it together. He said, "I don't understand why they cast Rosie O'Donnell as Betty."
Was this man?
Why would you ever cast that? It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, it's like a cartoon character.
He probably had a crush on Betty as a kid and wanted to see.
He had a crush on a cartoon character.
He wanted to see a sexy Betty,
a hotter person to be.
Not like a normal-looking human.
It doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid and gross.
One of my first crushes was a cartoon squirrel.
Yeah. Was it Gadget?
No, from Sword in the Stone.
Because Gadget. It's not, but April O'Neil. Also.
Oh, April O'Neil.
You know what I really like about this movie is that.
Is it the Tire Wars?
No, Barney and Fred are actually like best friends. Like they are legitimately best friends from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. And like they have like a weird sort of like falling out in the middle, but like they are legitimately best friends.
It's because Fred's an idiot. Fred's a dummy and he gets blinded by money.
The only reason that they fall out is because of Fred.
The yin to the yang.
But at the end of the movie, they're still best friends.
But Barney keeps Fred on the right track, because Barney's actually a secret genius.
It makes my heart swell, man.
You might want to go to a doctor, though. If your heart is swelling, you might want to actually see a doctor.
No, it's not swelling.
That Grinch,
medical issue.
I think that Grinch had a latent medical issue.
Love each other so much.
It was a coincidence he just got nicer, but I think the Grinch's heart exploded on that day, and
probably
nobody
like
talks about that. Yeah.
Guys, I might be a Grinch, I know. But I do love that they love each other. It's so nice. It's so nice. Like, it is nice. Like, the beginning of the movie is Fred, like, he has all this money that he got, and he is supposed to spend it on stuff with Wilma, but instead, he gives it to Barney so that Barney can fucking adopt a kid. That's so sweet. Yeah. And then Barney, in reference, he switches their tests because he's like, I know that you did this for me, so I'm gonna do this for you. It's so nice. It's so nice. They're very nice guys. They're like best friends, man.
I would switch my test for you guys.
Word.
But I would be.
I don't believe you.
I would be. I would be much more open about the fact that there would be a lot more communication than there are in movies and television about it.
I also like to think that I would be smart enough to know that if the boss was like, well, and then I'd be like, well, no, that was Jason's test. It wasn't my test.
Also, why do they want the smartest person for that Fallout, for the Duke or whatever?
Yeah, that's like the weird part of the movie that you're like, ugh, hold on. they wanted the smartest person but the dumbest person at the same time. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, it really makes no sense whatsoever.
But they also do a thing where it's like, get that Barney in here. Well, I mean, they kind of look down at everybody at the quarry as being idiots, so they did want the smartest dumb person. I think Barney would have just fallen for the same thing, and he probably would have. Although Betty, they just had a kid. Betty and Barney probably would have saved a lot of money. They probably would have been better with the money. But since Fred is a big dumb monkey man, he was like, spend all the money. We'll put a second floor on our house. Do you know how hard it is to put a second floor on your house? It's crazy. We'll get satellite.
On an already existing
it makes more sense to like just get a new house. Instead of, like, we're going to put a whole other floor up on.
My dad actually... he took an old farmhouse, like one his like he grew up in, and he like built kind of a house around it. So my dad did kind of do that. My dad is kind of
Jesus,
but it brought the value of the house up like tenfold, which is pretty crazy. And it doesn't, you can't like tell. They use like the bones of the house and like added on to it, but he did build a second floor onto the house, which I think is pretty cool. But at the same time, in this context, it's a lot. He made a lot of money. It's my point here.
Okay.
He had to make a lot of money.
Chisel out that like rock ceiling or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Also, why couldn't he break a 20? Why did he just physically break it?
Wait, what?
Remember when he's like, I can't break a 20? Right before they get lynched? You don't remember that part? I remember that part, Kayla.
I remember the lynching.
Right before that, Barney is like handing out ice cream or snow cones.
I can't break a 20, yeah.
And he's like, I can't break a 20. It was just like a one-off little line. But it would have been funny if he was like, here you go.
That would have been funny, yeah, if he broke a 20 and a half, yeah.
We should make a movie.
No, because now you just want to make a caveman movie. Like,
no.
We gotta make a movie where everybody breaks 20s.
We have no jokes in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's just that's the one joke.
It could be the actual movie we make, the people in the movie are watching like a TV show or something, and that scene comes up.
That'd be pretty funny. That'd be a good little joke for comedy. Did you guys notice that when they're celebrating after the bowling tournament, they all drink from one giant beer? And
I did notice that, yeah.
It's not only is it not COVID friendly, but it's just extremely unhygienic. I do get the
face.
Yeah, 4 people put their whole face into a gigantic beer. I would love to drink from a gigantic beer like that, but I would be like, this is my gigantic beer.
Only me.
Yeah, you'd never be able to get to the bottom, though.
I mean...
Well...
you could try. You might die. It'd be like drinking a full keg. Why didn't they just tap the mug? Maybe it is a situation where just everything is comically large. The Water Buffaloes Club. Yeah, of course. The ribs that are so big that they knock your car over. Was that in the movie?
It was in the beginning. It was the
right. Then
that was at the end, wasn't it?
When they were seeing Star Wars. Remember that?
Your favorite movie, Star Wars.
Is coming.
My favorite movie is Star Wars. I want to know what happens in Star Wars.
I bet you some dinosaurs fall in some tar, and they try and fight to get out.
Yeah, I bet you're right, Kaylin. That sounds accurate.
You know how back when they first started making movies, they were pretty basic plot lines. Well, I imagine in prehistoric days,
Star Wars. Yeah.
It's just 2 hours of some dinosaurs trying to fight their way out of tar, and everybody being like, "Yeah, the special effects in this are crazy," and they're like,
"I can't believe what they did with the tar."
Fully,
see that?
We just went to a tar pit and pushed a bunch of dinosaurs in, kind of like that movie Homeward Bound.
It was so wild. Oh, Homeward Bound.
Sorry.
Ugh.
Just
Never
kick.
watching that movie.
We
No,
can
no.
never do that movie on this podcast. I don't ever.
No, and we can't do that other Disney movie with the guy that goes up north and where the Lemmings myth came
I think it's
from.
called
Grizzly
Lord.
Man.
No, it's not called. No, it's not Grizzly Man. Do you guys not remember that movie where it was like,
With Elijah Wood?
what is it? No.
Elijah
It's like it's from like the early '80s or the '70s, where this dude goes to the Arctic, and the myth about lemmings following
Tell
each
you
other
that.
off a cliff comes from
Grizzly
that,
Man
but it's
is
not
fucked
real.
up.
Isn't that where he like fights bears and then fucking gets murdered at the end
He
by a
gets
bear?
eaten. Yeah, at the end of the movie, he gets eaten.
Are they allowed to say Disney in this movie?
I don't think so. I think this is a Universal movie.
Yeah.
Universal.
Yeah, but the Dick the Bird said I should have signed with Disney or something like that.
Yeah, you can say Disney if
Yeah,
it's a
you
joke.
can.
I'm sure there were lawyers that had to be like that had to clear it.
Also, the Dick to Bird is maybe the best part of the movie.
I think
right?
I remember as a kid everybody being so stoked about Dick to Bird.
What?
So
Get a
stoked.
parrot.
You and your friends were like, "Did you guys see that Dick to Bird? That was the greatest part of that movie, Dick to Bird."
That's what we sounded like.
You and your friends.
And you get to say Dick in its name.
Yeah, that could have been it. We like to say swear words.
Could have been it. You guys loved talking about Dick.
Me and my friends. So my aunt told me this story when I was a little bit older, like probably early teens, and she's like, "Yeah, one time I went back. I watched I had this like kind of fort that I had built where I would go with my friends and we'd hang out and do forest things because I grew up in the forest."
Okay.
And she's like, "I walked halfway back and I could just hear you guys back there swearing." So
Swearing like a Dick to Bird. Ugh.
So I imagine when I was like 8 or 9 and I found out some swear words and I knew I wasn't supposed to say them, I was like, fuck.
And you wish you had a Dick to Bird you could swear at so I could come at you with the swear.
Well, I got a yak back, so I'd be like, fuck.
Right. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yak
fuck,
back.
Fuck.
Ooh.
Did you have the yak back backwards or whatever the other one was called?
No, we couldn't afford it.
I remember trying to say the like whatever it was I was trying to say. Like I would personally try and say it
Oops, neep,
backwards.
nap,
Or
noop,
no,
snoop.
what I would. What?
Oops, noop, neep, snurp, nerp, noop, slurp.
I find it funny
Exactly.
that you asked for that and your parents were like, "We can't afford it," and I just didn't ask for it.
No,
I was like, "Yeah,
my mom was like,
whatever,
"You already have a yak back," and I was like, "But this one goes
But
backwards."
this one can swear backward.
And she's like, "I don't care. We can barely afford groceries. You got a yak back for Christmas. That's what you got. A yak back and a Tamagotchi. Now shut up."
No.
I didn't get a Tamagotchi and then I broke my teeth.
Man. So, remember the part where they're best friends and Fred starts to act like a shithead?
Yeah.
Do you guys find that happens a lot when people get promoted?
No.
I don't think so either. I think that, like,
I've never experienced a situation where, like, I worked in kitchens where people would get promoted to, like, up to supervisor, and rarely people would be that much of a dick. And I didn't become a dick because you kind of, like, know your station. I've seen people go from, like, kitchen person to kitchen manager, and it doesn't really work like that, but I could see it. I could see where there's room for it to happen. And I could
well,
see
I mean,
if you went from
kitchen person to kitchen manager and then you all of a sudden became a dick, everybody in the kitchen would be like, "Fuck you,
Yeah.
you idiot.
But I could
You're
see
still
going
working
from
here with us, you fool."
I could see somebody going from like a quarry, like a miner, up to executive in one step, and then that person being like, "Well, I'm better than you now." Because that
he's
Fred
not-
kind of... Well, Fred
he's
doesn't
not just
really
going
do that.
From, like, rock hammer to rock hammer. He's like going into the building and becoming like a big boy.
Yeah. That's another thing I loved about this movie. As soon as he gets famous, he starts wearing hilarious suits, but they're still just caveman suits.
That's like one of the best parts about this movie is like every single like idiosyncrasy of the movie is funny. Like when they're drinking martinis and there's they're like giant martini glasses that are like made of stupid glass, and they're like.
With a giant cigarette that Sharon Stone pulls out.
Like, the lighter is like huge. Yeah, like, it's so stupid.
But also, it's weird that there was smoking in this movie. You know, it's weird that we can't ever use. Like, I can't ever use this podcast. You're coughing all over it.
I'm sorry.
This is a vaulter. We're gonna vault this bad boy. Well, you don't have to look all sad now.
I am sad though. I'll try to not cough.
Just remember to mute.
Remember when I said how funny that thing was that we just talked about? It was so funny.
Overly oversized things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything being big is funny.
I was gonna say though that like it's weird that there's smoking in this movie because like you don't see smoking in movies anymore because.
But like in this movie,
like
it's like it's almost
something.
like they're not smoking because they're smoking such a big cigarette. And
Yeah, but she like
and
takes a smoke. She like I get that it's like a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. Also, Barney takes it hilariously well when he gets passed over for the. That goes back to what you're saying about how they're best buds forever. The best buds for life.
Buddies. But he like when Fred fires him, he clearly feels so bad. Like he's just like, no, Bond, like I can't accept this. No, like just take it back. And he's like, no, I just want you to have it. And he's like, no. And then like Betty's like, is the color wrong?
Was it Gucci?
Probably. It was probably Rock Chi.
Yeah, it was some sort of rock cheat.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
And
he gets fired, and then he's like, okay.
Outside, and they're outside, and they're just like not even. But he also like Barney is smart, and he knows he's smart, and he's confident about his ability in the world. Where he's like, you know what? I don't care. I'll just do whatever the fuck I want. Like I can do anything. I am smarter than everybody else. And then like it's almost confirmed when Fred says like, well, Barney, the reason you got fired was because you're the dumbest fucking person in the entire quarry. And then he looks at Fred like, oh, I fucked up because I could have had your job. But you know,
if Barney would have gotten the job though, then we don't have a movie. But we kind of maybe do because of the thing that it's all about the embezzlement, I guess.
But he also would have figured out the embezzlement, which is like stupid, right? Like that's the whole that's what Kaylin was saying earlier, which is like if Barney got the job, he would have figured out what they were doing to him very early on, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like it really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I forgot to hit record. It's a good thing that this gets uploaded to Twitch. So,
really?
Yeah, forgot to hit record. Forgot it.
Whoopsies.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I can pull these videos off of. YouTube. I haven't even started making audio versions. Anyway, it's not a big deal. So I do like the other. There's a little the scene when they're in town shopping and a pterodactyl flies over and shits on a car, and it's just like the biggest torrent of shit. I thought that was a goofy, fun joke as a kid, and also had a sensible chuckle as a 37-year-old man. Poop jokes are funny.
Poop. Seagull poop.
We like poop. I don't like seagull poop. They're small and they're gross. But a giant torrent of shit is funny to me. I'm just going through my notes, basically, because you know how I take notes. It's basically shot for shot.
I kind of went through all mine, so I'm good.
I heard they wanted Danny DeVito for Barney.
I don't know if that...
For
well,
who?
that might have worked.
No. I mean, he's short.
Rick Moranis is good, man. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they couldn't have two guys talking like this. Yeah, Fred sounds a lot like Peter Griffin, is a note that I made. Then there's the scene with Sharon Stone flirting with Fred. And then Wilma walks in and she just doesn't even... She's like, this is inappropriate. Even though Sharon Stone was trying to get some Fred Flintstone action, but also he was trying to read... He was trying to read. There's that scene where he actually has a moment of intelligence where he's like, I don't want these to go and I don't want them to go to the lawyer's office and not have been read over. So I'm just going to take a quick look. And then she's like, ooh, here's my breasticles. Hate that word. Don't know why I said it. Wilma walks in, and that's when he does the thing with the dictabird, which was funny, where it's like, hey, Wilma, check this out. Tell her I think she's the most beautiful wife in the world. You're the most beautiful wife in the world. I'm just putting on a one-man show. But then Fred and Sharon have a nice moment where they become buddies.
Yes.
And she actually helps him a little bit at the end. She could have done more.
She could have done more, yeah. I agree. But, she did enough. She did enough to, get him away from danger.
How about when Barney was a literal crash test dummy?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
That whole part where he's, doing jobs is, nothing about it is good. It's all bad.
The crash test dummy bit was funny to me because at that time there was a very somewhat popular cartoon, CGI cartoon, much like Reboot, called Crash Test Dummies. I don't know if you remember. It was like a straight to VHS thing.
CGI or cartoon?
Holy shit!
It was CGI.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, okay, so there was a CGI video and then there was an animated series, but the CGI video came with a toy, and I remember watching that video over and over, and then making... The Crash Test Dummies were great because they had buttons on them.
Stop! You're making my brain do
That's what this podcast is all about. You're recalling. You press the buttons and their legs and head would fly off, and the springs would break, and they were great toys. But
they were not awesome.
I loved it. Toys. I loved Crash Test Dummies. I went through a whole phase, but I had this. In my room, I'd have a sleepover with my buddy who would bring his Crash Test Dummy toys over. He had the car because he was fucking rich. And
because he was freaking rich.
The car was great.
Had all the toys.
The front of the car crumpled and they popped out of the car when they crashed it. But we would set up what we call a crash dummy world around my bedroom and had all these different crash dummy crash setups. And I remember that very vividly from right around this era. So 5
out of 5.
Yeah, 12 out of 5. So it was funny that they included a Crash Dummies reference. I know it wasn't a reference to the cartoon. I remember Crash Dummies in the 90s, though.
That's not a reference, Jason.
But it was a reference to Crash
Just
Dummies
because you
being
connect something to something does not make it a
part of pop culture, though. It was known...
It's part of pop culture, though. It's pop culture.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Anyway.
Okay. I would have never thought of fucking Crash Test Dummies the show.
Do you want to hear
crazy. I never would have thought of that. And you just made it.
I have good memory. Brain. I have good memory from when I was 7 years old in Siberia. I didn't grow up in Siberia. I don't know why I said that. I'm just trying to keep it light and live. The next note, though, ironically, that I wrote was just some Flintstone-y things happen. So I kind of was starting to be like, yeah, just Flintstone things happen, and it's funny. There's not really a lot to talk about, I think is my point there. Then we get the B-52s. Barney's the help. That's when they have... Oh, Steve's computer exploded. This is the... Oh, is he coming back? Did he just leave for comic? Did you just leave as a comical bit?
Oh man, I just fell. I fell.
What?
I fell.
What do you mean you fell?
I fell on the floor.
To watch the tape back and see that Steve falls over, but you went off Zoom. I thought your computer exploded.
Yeah, I fell so hard I exited Zoom.
God.
No, I actually don't know what happened. I did fall, for real.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I think.
Okay.
But everything shut off for a second. That's the weird part.
Like
everything actually shut off for a second.
Your brain shut off for a second?
Maybe that means that I'm actually the hero of the story, and you.
Oh, looks like he fell over again.
Uh-oh.
This podcast is a nightmare this week. Fell over again. I'm just gonna barrel through to the end.
Do it.
How's that sound? Because Kaylin, you're looking like you want to go hide from the universe. Please. Okay, so anyway, they have their falling out. There's the big reveal. Barney says, I switched the tests, you big dumb dummy.
Sure.
They get into a fight. Wilma gets pissed and leaves, goes to her mom's.
Or her mom, no, yeah.
Her mom's, yeah. And then we get a funny scene where Fred's just kind of going around town with a hilarious fake beard. And trying to hide. I don't really get why he was hiding from the townsfolk. Because he
fired them.
Oh, yeah, he fired everybody. Yeah, there was a scene with layoffs. Okay, right.
Yeah.
And then back at work now, the embezzlement's coming to haunt him. He gets fired. And then that's when the lynch mob thing happens. They escape, and they go home to find that the kids have been kidnapped by Kyle MacLachlan's character, Mr. Rockstone or whatever. I can't remember what his name is. And then, like I said before, they chase him to the quarry. They have kind of a showdown where we get to see Barney try a bunch of funny things, a bunch of slapstick stuff, like he shoots himself out of a... So the kids are in like the things that carry the rocks through the grinder, the conveyor belt, and he keeps shooting himself into the conveyor belt and hitting the wall. It's very funny. Fred, Sharon Stone kind of half saves the day by stopping the bad guy, and then they basically all just have a giant party. I'm gonna just text Kaylin, regale us with some facts if you have any.
I ruined a streak earlier today.
What's that?
Of not shitting myself for a while.
No, not here. Not here.
I didn't actually shit myself. It was like in between. It was the sharks.
No. No.
Okay.
No. We should have taken another week off.
I am starting to feel better, but I do have a headache.
Okay.
You texted Steve?
Yeah, Steve said that his internet died. I'm just gonna ask him if we should just wait for him for final. Should we wait for you? This is the part of the show where it's dead air.
I'm gonna bring back tunics. That's what I'm gonna do.
Tunics. Would you say that they're wearing tunics if the tunics don't have pants underneath and don't have a belt?
Maybe they're more so moo-moos. Maybe moo-moos?
Yeah. They're like caveman moo-moos. Okay, Steve says he's going to come back for final thoughts. So, you got another little bit in you, buddy?
Is he going to use his phone and his data?
I don't know. Oh, he's coming. Here he comes.
Oh, how do you know?
Because I have to admit people.
Oh.
All right, it's time for final thoughts. I finished the story. I finished telling everyone.
I hope it was a good story.
It was a good story. Sharon Stone half saves the day, and then Fred does the rest, and then they invent concrete. Because the big quarry gets a bunch of water.
Concretia, the best character in the movie.
Concretia?
Who we never see.
He names concrete after his daughter, Concretia.
Oh,
Slate.
yes. Right, Slate.
Yeah.
And Fred becomes CEO again, but now he can run the company the way he wants.
Yeah. He doesn't take.
Yabba dabba doo.
Dabba doo, and then he grabs him by the foot, and he goes up in the air like the old school. Steve, why don't you give us your final thoughts, and let's end this podcast and delete it forever.
Did you guys both do your final thoughts already?
No.
Oh.
I'm just asking you first.
Okay, no, yeah, that's fine. I kind of really like this movie. I didn't think I would. I went in as an old school watcher thinking, ugh, whatever, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. And I watched it, and I liked it. I liked every minute of it. Like, every single minute of it. I was like, wow, this is kind of great. I liked that it made me remember the 90s very vividly. I like that the puppets are fucking dope. Like, every puppet is good. The pig puppet, the Dino puppet, the what's her name? That old lady who's in all the movies.
Mother-in-law?
The Elizabeth Taylor puppet. It was great. All of it was good. I think that this movie, it has a special power for people who are of that era. Like, I don't think that this is gonna resonate with anybody who's born after like 1999. Like, anybody in that, they're gonna be like, I don't understand. This is stupid. And you know what? That's completely fine for you. But for us, people who were born in the 80s and had this weird, dumb moment in time where Hollywood decided that we had to make movies that were based on like the shitty cartoons that our parents watched. Like, that existed for a little while, and we all had to watch it, and we did, and we loved it. And I did love this movie. The best part about this movie is that it doesn't actually feel like a blockbuster movie. Like, they're not trying to blow the block out. They're just trying to make a movie. It just feels like a normal, like, here is a normal story with these characters that the Flintstones, and that's what you're gonna get, and that's what we got. It's just a normal ass story, and I like it, and I'm gonna give it a yabba dabba, but not a do. No do. Not happening.
But
no
a huge yabba dabba.
Yabba dabba. Yeah.
All right. That's good. I like that. Kaylin, regale us with your final thoughts.
Jason, do you use Just for Men on your beard?
Nope.
Just lucky, I guess.
Well, I didn't start going gray when I was 25 with like you.
And we all know that your gray beard looks sick as fuck.
Yeah, I am stoked. I want to have enough hair still to actually go gray. All I have is this beard, and it's only starting to get some grays. I saw one. Yeah.
I mean, look at Kaylin's beard is dope.
It is dope as
salt and pepper.
You've been going gray since we were literally 25, so it's just
somewhere around there. Probably before that a little bit. I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. I think I said earlier, it has its childish moments, but it also has some adult moments or whatever. And it actually got me thinking about, like, if and when I have kids, how much will or won't I censor, like, what they see? Like, I know for myself, like, I was, like, subject to a lot of things that were older than what I should have been seeing at the time. Oh no, did it happen again? But yeah, there's some jokes, and if the kid, watching it afterwards, like, oh, I know what that means. In the moment though, like when your kid when you don't know, it just kind of goes over your head. And you just kind of keep watching, like, ooh, look at the dinosaur, look at the cool cars or whatever, that sort of thing. So like, but maybe it's subconscious, and subconscious can be pretty strong, right?
Yeah.
I give it a yabba dabba do.
Whoa! Excuse me over here. All right. Gee,
well, high praise for the Yabba Dabba Doodler. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. I had a very good time watching it. It wasn't a slog. It was a nostalgia trip. And to add to what you were saying, Steve, like, and to you, Kaylin, I guess, too. I don't know if, not for different reasons than Kaylin, though. I don't know if I would show this if I have kids. I don't know if I would, like, show it to them and be like, isn't this amazing? Because they'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. When I was a kid, the Flintstones was on Saturday morning cartoons. When my parents were like teenagers, it was on at like 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. You know what I mean? So I even have a different experience than my parents did. Because it was all the spin-offs of the Flintstones came out around the 80s, when the Flintstones vitamins and the Fruity Pebbles and all that shit was happening.
We didn't have Fruity Pebbles in Canada.
Yeah, we did. Absolutely, we did.
No, we did not.
We absolutely did. I had Fruity Pebbles as a kid.
Thing, but you had to like hunt for it.
No, I remember having Fruity Pebbles all the time when I was a kid. All the time.
God, Jason, your parents were bad parents.
Fuck you. I mean, you're not wrong, but but I'll be the judge of that. And they weren't bad parents. But I just had the Flintstones was such a part of my life in at that time that I would have been happy to see any IP that I knew become live action, and I'm surprised they never made a Jetsons, and I'm surprised they still haven't made a Flintstones or Simpsons, even though I think the Simpsons will get a live action that everybody will hate after it's been around for 40 years.
They're never going to. No.
I'm not going to put that into the universe, but Mel Gibson is Homer?
I'll
okay.
blame you.
Anyway, the other thing that I was thinking about while I was watching this is that when I was a kid in the 90s, we had Wizard magazine, which was like the comic books magazine. And in the back, every month, there would be like fantasy casting for like X-Men movies and Marvel movies and stuff and DC and blah, blah, blah. And at that time, I was like, man, wouldn't it be crazy if they started...
They're trying to get us to do the casting director's job for them.
Yeah. Well, it was like the writers of the magazine and fans doing that part.
What happened in the fucking Doctor Strange movie, right?
So at the time, I remember being like, holy shit. And then the movie was good, and it's a great kids movie, and then watching it again now, it holds up. So I give it a 3.8 out of 5. Honestly, it holds up. It's a good little, but I think it loses points for me because I don't know.
3.8.
Yeah,
that's a high score for you.
Yeah, it surprised me. I think that's higher than like the internet, like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff.
That's like higher than you gave Secret Window. What the fuck?
Yeah, because I think nostalgia is very powerful. It's a very powerful drug.
Nostalgia does play.
I think as a kids movie, it's even higher, and I think without the nostalgia trip, it's much lower, more like a 3.5. But my personal rating is or maybe even a 3. My personal rating is a 3.8 because when I watch a movie for our podcast and I enjoy it, I'm gonna give it a higher rating because sometimes I find it very hard to sit through some of the movies.
Yeah, but this movie was actually kind of good, so
exactly,
it's fine. Like I actually kind of love this movie.
I will watch this movie again. Maybe we do a commentary track for it. That would be fun. Anyway, the
sequel is really bad.
Don't watch that.
This movie is
trash.
Good. This movie is kind of good. Like it's kind of fun and good.
It's got heart.
It's got heart. It's
got bowling scenes.
Anything that John Goodman is in, you can pretty much count on being
anything
good.
That
also.
Rick Moranis is in.
Rick Moranis is another one.
He knows
and Elizabeth Perkins. I don't know. So this has been another week. This was kind of our dipping our toes back in the water after a week off. I don't know what happened. The wheels came off in a different way than normal. We got some sicky boys. We got some technical difficulties, and thanks for everyone that came by and watched. We did have 4 people in the chat a couple times, so that's good. It's good to see that. The views for video games are going like this for some reason. I can't get a person to watch wrestling with me to save my life. I took a week off this week. I think I'm going to do it next
Jason,
week.
it's just that we all have to work together. Like, that's what...
It's true. When we work together, that's when we get our best analytics.
Trifecta.
But with that, for Steven and Kaylin, I'm Jason.
For Kaylin, for Jason, I am Steven.
I didn't hear Jason finish his thing.
Oh, God.
But
Come on.
for Jason and Steven... Wait. I think I messed up.
No,
As long as you don't say your own name, like I've done.
For Kaylin and Kaylin, I am Kaylin.
Thank you, Steve.
And I just have to ask the question that's been on everybody's
Kaylin
mind.
has to finish this thing. He has to say.
Okay. For Steven and Jason and Jason's parents, I'm sorry.
I have to ask the question that's been on everybody's mind. Hey, did you see this one?
I saw it one time.
This one.
It hurts my head to turn it, but I still gotta know. Hey, did you see this one?
I'm doing the outro song now.
Is this where we dance?
Well, they can't see it. That's the thanks for watching thing, but I like how we've managed to botch the intro every week. But now this is the part of the show where it's showing thanks for watching, and we do a little bit of banter. So
We do the banter like when the rolling credits banter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah. I'm gonna.
I just want to apologize.
You guys, Jesus.
I was really hoping I'd be feeling better.
Oh, yeah.
Yerp, yerp, zerp,
Yeah,
zerp,
yeah,
yerp,
yeah.
zerp.